Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupada Paramsa Privrajagacharya Stotra Sastasi Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Nitya Leela Pravishta Jayam Vishnupada Paramsa Privrajagacharya Astotra Sastasi Srimad His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Prem Sakho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasa Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Ganga Mai ki Yamuna Mai ki Tulasi Devi ki Bhakti Devi ki, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki, all glory to Samul devotees, all glory to Samul devotees, all glory to Samul devotees, all glory, all glory, all glory to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Naranarayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vyasadev, the other, and Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master. Nasta prayesha bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the Personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On this day of 10th October in San Diego, California, USA, we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Withdrawal of Cosmic Creations, Chapter 24, Matsya, the Lord's Fish Incarnation, And text 50. Achakshurandhasya yatha granih kritas tata janasya vidusho budho guruhu tvam arkadrik sarvadrisham samikshano vruto gururna swagatim bubhutsatam achakshurandhasya yada granih kritas tata janasya vidusho budho guruhu tvam arkadrik sarvadrisham samikshano vruto gururna swagatim bubhutsavam tam achakshurandhasya yatha granih kritas tata janasya vidusho budho guruhu tvam arkadrik sarvadrisham samikshano vruto gururna swagatim bubhutsatam achakshurandhasya yatha granih kritas tata janasya vidusho budho guruhu tvam arkadrik sarvadrisham samikshano vruto gururna swagatim bubhutsatam achakshurandhasya yatha granih kritas tata janasya vidusho budho guruhu tvam arkadrik sarvadrisham samikshano vruto gururna swagatim bubhutsatam achakshurandhasya yatha granih kritas tata janasya vidusho budho guruhu tvam arkadrik sarvadrisham samikshano vruto gururna swagatim bubhutsatam achakshurandhasya yatha granih kritas tata janasya vidusho budho guruhu tvam arkadrik sarvadrisham samikshano vruto gururna swagatim bubhutsatam. Vaishnavis? Oh, you want? Yeah. Achakshurandhasya yatha granih kritas tata janasya vidusho budho guruhu tvam arkadrik sarvadrisham samikshano vruto gururna swagatim bubhutsatam achakshurandhasya yatha granih kritas tata janasya vidusho budho guruhu tvam arkadrik sarvadrisham samikshano Anyone online?
Achakshur andhasya yatha grani kritas
Achakshurandhasya yatha grani kritas
tatha janasya vidusha buddha guru
tata janasya vidusho budho guruhu
tam arkadrik sharva drisham samikshana
tvam arkadrik sarvadrisham samikshano
Brita Guru Nashagatim Bhubhutshatam.
Vrito Gurur Nasvagatim Bhuvutsatam. Anyone else? Okay. Achakshuhu, one who does not have his power of sight. Andhasya, for such a blind person. Yatha, as Agranihi, the leader. Who goes first? Kritaha, accepted. Tatha, similarly. Janasya, such a person. Avidishaha, who has no knowledge of the goal of life. Abhudaha, a foolish rascal. Guruhu, the spiritual master. Tvam, your lordship. Arkadrik, appear like the sun. Sarvadrisham, of all sources of knowledge. Samikshanaha, the complete seer. Vritaha, accepted. Guruhu, the spiritual master. Naha, our. Swagatim, one who knows his real self-interest. Bhutsatam, such an enlightened person. Translation purport by Sri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai. Translation: as a blind man, being unable to see, accepts another blind man as his leader, people who do not know the goal of life accept someone as a guru who is a rascal and a fool. But we are not interested in, but we are interested in self-realization. Therefore, we accept you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as our spiritual master, for you are able to see in all directions and are omniscient like the sun. Purport: the conditioned soul, being wrapped in ignorance and therefore not knowing the goal of life, accepts a guru who can juggle words and make some display of magic that is wonderful to a fool. Sometimes a foolish person accepts someone as a guru because he can manufacture a small quantity of gold by mystic yogic power. Because such a disciple has a poor fund of knowledge, he cannot judge whether the manufacture of the gold is the criterion for a guru. Why should one not accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kṛṣṇa, from whom unlimited numbers of gold mines come into being? Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate. All the gold mines are created by the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, why should one accept a magician who can manufacture only a small portion of gold? Such gurus are accepted by those who are blind, not knowing the goal of life. Maharaj Satyavrata, however, knew the goal of life. He knew the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore he accepted Lord as his guru. Either the Supreme Lord or his representative can become guru. The Lord says, Mameva ye prapadyante mayametam tarantite. One can get relief from the clutches of Maya as soon as he surrenders unto me. Therefore, it is the guru's business to instruct his disciple to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead if he wants relief from the material clutches. This is the symptom of the guru. This same principle was instructed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Yare Dekha Tare Kaha Krishna Upadesha. In other words, one is advised not to accept a guru who does not follow the path of instruction given by Lord Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunadanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So in this purport we'll see, we just saw. So this verse Maharaj Satyavrata is offering prayers to Supreme Personality of Godhead in Matsya form, Lord Fish incarnation, and he is mentioning the concept of blind man being unable to see accepts another blind man as his leader. People who do not know the goal of life accept someone as a guru who is a rascal and a fool. But we are interested in self-realization. Therefore, we accept you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as our spiritual master. For you are able to see in all directions and are omniscient like the sun. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada opens with conditioned soul being wrapped in ignorance and therefore not knowing the goal of life. So the modern way of thinking, or like the advances in the sciences and technology, will force us to think that human beings are not very different from that of animal species. If you take like any surgeons who are being trained in cardiovascular system, they learn to operate on the body by learning on pig's body, because pigs, the cardiovascular system is very close to that of human beings. And also we see many arguments of as comparing us to that of evolution from monkeys and so on. So these tendencies like comparing with the main operations of animals and comparing us, we were forced into thinking that we are some evolved species of animal life. But that's not true. Like if you approach like spiritual literature like Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, this first misinterpretation that we are nothing but animalistic species of life is cut very like very strongly. For example, one of the verses in Srimad Bhagavatam in 2nd canto says about Taravah kim na jivanti. I keep quoting this verse again and again in the classes. So it says Taravah kim na jivanti. If you are thinking you are the only species who are living on the earth, then it questions us, Taravah kim na jivanti. Do the trees not live? And if you think that you are only breathing, Bastra kimna swasanyuta, it says, that is, do the bellows of blacksmith not breathe? Na khadanti na mehanti kim gramo pasavo apare. That's what the verse is. That is, even in the animals in the streets also eat and mehanti, they procreate. And so all these activities of eating, mating, sleeping, defending are observed in animal species, and they have limited intelligence to do these 4 things perfectly. So they have this intelligence, like when a baby cub born, so the mother animal teaches it how to pray and obtain its food. So like when these 4 are satisfied, eating, sleeping, mating, defending are satisfied, so this intelligence these animals acquire and then it plateaus off. But the difference between human beings is that we can inquire the main questions of life. That is, what is the purpose of life? What happens after death? Why am I suffering? These kind of basic questions is that inquisitiveness is what given to us, and also we are like elevated all the time, like in terms of our consciousness. So that is what if you are coming to the scriptural understanding, that's what the spiritual education teaches us. And of all the types of people in general, there are 2 types of mentality we will see predominantly. One is a Kṛṣṇa mentality and one is a Brahmana mentality. So, why I am going into this discussion is, if we see one of the foremost scriptures that is given to us by the mercy of Vaishnavas is Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So in Bhagavad Gita, majority of the Vaishnavas also starts from 2nd chapter, reading from 2nd chapter, because Krishna starts speaking in 2nd chapter. But 1st chapter of Bhagavad Gita is very important because it describes about the state of Arjuna in like Arjuna Vishada Yoga. So how he, who is attached to this material concept of life, and how with that concept, how suffering you incur to yourself is what Arjuna is displaying there. So there, only when Arjuna, like even when he is asking Krishna to, please put the chariot between the 2 armies and so on. So basically, until he comes to the state to Karpanya dosho pahatasvabhavaha pruchchami tvam dharma sammuda cheta yasreyasya nischitam bruhitanme sishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. Only when Arjuna is coming in the mood of a student and surrendering onto the spiritual master Krishna, then Krishna starts speaking and revealing the spiritual knowledge. So until then, what Arjuna has, that state is Kṛṣṇa mentality. Kṛṣṇa mentality is having strong bodily attachment, identifying oneself with these 4 activities only as their major goals in life: eating, sleeping, mating, defending, and also waste their life in acquiring temporary material things. So Shankara writes in Bhajagovindam that Ma Kuru Dhanajana Yavvana Garvam Harati Nimeshat Kalat Sarvam, he writes. That is, if you are like proud of acquiring Dhana Jana Yavvana Garvam, if you are proud of acquiring this wealth, money and fame, then Harati Nimeshat Kalat Sarvam, these are gone in one Nimisha of Kala, that is death. At death, all these are taken away. So Kṛṣṇa mentality is holding on to these temporary things which yields nothing after when the life is over. But Brahmana mentality is to inquire the goal of life and live life according to Shastras and perfect one's own life and break cycle of birth and death in this process. So the scriptural education, like what we get through Srila Prabhupada's books or through Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam classes, so shifts our goal of life from this Kṛṣṇa mentality to that of Brahmana mentality. So that is how the intelligence is strengthened and we move towards more inquiring about the goal of life and practicing accordingly. So there are 2 types of knowledges. If you attend the Rauda Prabhu's Bhagavad Gita classes, we hear this. So there are 2 types of knowledges predominantly that are discussed. One is Aroha Panth and other is Avaroha Panth. So Aroha Panth is the process of inductive process where you collect all the knowledge as you go through in this Drishya Jagat and then you try to approach to the conclusion what are the answers I have said. Like what am I, what is identity, all these answers that we try to obtain through whatever the evidences that we are collecting here. But repeatedly we hear in the Bhagavatam classes that this approach is flawed because we do not have enough capability to understand this transcendental spiritual science through the 4 defects that like imperfect senses or there are so on like that. So this is Aroha Panth. So there is another method called as Avaroha Panth, which is deductive process. That is knowing from the higher authorities. That is all the necessary information for us to perfect our own life and then reach to the ultimate spiritual destination was given by Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of like scriptures. So Dharmantu Sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. So even Bhagavatam says that the rules of dharma and the process of religious principles are crafted and compiled and given to us by Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So Avaroha Panth is taking the source which is revealed from that higher authorities and practicing in our life. So in that process, so the Vedic scriptures speak about one theme very significantly. That is the importance of Guru and the Sishya relationship in our spiritual life. So if you take Svetaswara Upanishad, so it says about Tadvignanardham sa gurumeva bhigacchetaha samitpani srotriyam brahmanishtam. That is, so it emphasizes that one has to obtain knowledge, one have to obtain approach bona fide spiritual master. Tadvignanardham sa gurumeva bhigacchetaha and samitpani srotriyam brahmanishtam. He must approach to that person as a spiritual master. He is srotriyam. That is, he has obtained the knowledge through that disciplic succession and very well learned in Shastras, Shruti, that is Srotriyam. And Brahmanishtam, not only just receiving that knowledge to the Parampara, but also he is practicing that in his day-to-day life and setting an excellent example. So, approaching. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, with a wood in your hand, like a straw. Oh, okay. So Samitpani is approaching with wood in the hand. So that is one reference that scriptures speak about importance of Guru, and also and also in Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto. It says Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta Jignasu Sreyam Uttamam Shabde Pare Chan Nisnatam Brahman Upasamashrayam. A sincere soul desiring the ultimate good must surrender to a guru who is expert in revealed scriptures, shabde nishnatam, and fixed in realization of absolute truth, brahmani upasamasrayam. So, scriptures repeat this theme of importance of spiritual master in one's spiritual life. So, why we need guru, why we need spiritual master is yasya deve parabhaktir yatha deve tadha guru tasyaite kadita hyartha prakashante mahatmanaha. Only unto those great souls who have equal devotion to God and Guru are all the truths of Vedas revealed. So for us, for the revelations of Vedic scriptures, we should have that Guru Nishtha. We should be situated in Guru's words firmly. So, and also, like even in the Jadabharata and Maharaja Raghugana's interaction as well, when Maharaja Raghugana inquires Jadabharata, so where all this knowledge come from? Like, how do I get this? What is the most important instruction that you can give? So Jadabharata gives this: Raghuganaita tapasa nayati nachejjaya nirvapanad grihadva nachandasa naiva jalagni suryair vina mahatpada rajobhishekam. This is the verse 5.12.12. That is, my dear King Raghugana, unless one has the opportunity to smear his entire body with the dust of the lotus feet of great devotees, one cannot realize the absolute truth. One cannot realize the absolute truth simply by observing celibacy, brahmacharya, strictly following the rules and regulations of householder life, leaving home as a vanaprastha, accepting sannyasa, or undergoing severe penances in winter by keeping oneself submerged in water, or surrounding oneself in summer by fire and the scorching heat of the sun. There are many other processes to understand the absolute truth, but the absolute truth is only revealed to one who has attained the mercy of a great devotee. So the great devotees are not after these, show off of these, extreme austerities, but they do what is said from the disciplic succession in terms of obtaining, engaging in the devotional principles. Even in one of the verses that is there in Padyavali. So this verse is, so the Padyavali is the compilation of verses from Srila Rupa Goswami. This verse is said by Ishwar Puri, spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he says, Yogasrut upapatti nirjanavana dhyanadva sambhavita samrajya mami mukta bhayantu dvijaha. So that is, if some dvijas, brahmanas or so, who are like so-called brahmanas, dvijas, are the they are involving these activities of yoga, by doing the extreme yogas like Ashtanga yoga and so on, Hatha yoga and so on. Sruti, by incessantly chanting the Vedic mantras. Yoga Sruti, Upapatti, doing the atonements and all that. And a Nirjanavana Dhyanadva Sambhavita, going to an isolated forest and performing extreme austerities like what is said in this verse. And if they are engaging in these processes, let them do that. Like that's what Ishwar Puri says. Asmakam tu kadamba kunja kuhara pronmila dindivara sreni syamala nam dhama nama jushatam janmastu lakshavadi. That's what Ishwar Puri says. That is, I am happy in taking lakhs of lifetimes, millions of lifetimes, in engaging in the chanting of that beautiful Lord whose black complexion, dark blue complexion, and the yellow garment that he wears resembles the host of blue lotus in yellow flower bearing kadamba trees. That's what the translation of this verse in Padyavali says. So the devotees are interested more in engaging in the bona fide principles that were said in the disciplic succession, which are bona fide devotional principles. So from the entire Shastras, there are so many mentioning of like the importance of Guru and the relationship between Guru and Sishya and so on. So from the entire Shastras, if you take, there is not even example of a single personality who has gone back to Godhead and achieved Lord's mercy without spiritual master. So he is the medium where the absolute truth will be revealed. This is the words of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur says that spiritual master is not a person but a medium through which the the absolute truth is revealed. And also in one of the recent home programs, Balaram Prabhu also mentioned one of the words that if you serve Guru, Krishna is pleased. If you serve Krishna, if you pray to Krishna through the principles of what Guru is teaching you, Guru is pleased. But if you serve Vaishnavas, both Guru and Krishna are pleased. So the importance of spiritual master is given in like Shastras. And so there are some sections where, so Shastras give, especially Srimad Bhagavatam gives, what is the importance of Guru. So being a Guru is a very responsible position. So there is this very strong verse by Rishabhadev, very widely quoted in Vaishnava community. Gurur nasasyat svajano nasasyat pita nasasyat janani nasasyat daivam na tatsyan na patischa sasyan na mochayed yas samupeta mrutyum. So Rishabhadev is saying, Gurur nasasyat svajano nasasyat pita nasasyat janani nasasyat daivam na tatsyan na patischa sasyan na mochayed yas samupeta mrutyum. One who cannot deliver his dependents from the path of repeated birth and death should never become a spiritual master, a father, a husband, a mother, or a worshipable demigod. So these are all positions which is like very responsible positions, and you should be able to deliver your dependents. That means you should be sincere in whatever the position you are doing, like that. So in this purport, we see that Srila Prabhupada very strongly opposes that. Do not fall prey to fake gurus in terms of fake godsmen. So the Vedic society usually the fundamental fabric of Vedic society gives utmost respect to anyone who is following the path of whatever the path it is. Like if you do some renunciation, people respect you. But there are many of the fake godmen who try to misuse this, and like Srila Prabhupada is mentioning about not to fall prey to this word jugglery and display of some magic, and also like miracles, like which are not helping you spiritually in terms of like material miracles. So I will solve your this problem and all. If we are gullible, then we'll be cheated. And this is like, so the people who wants the material benefits find that guru and that so-called guru, the fake guru, and then the guru is also fraud. Instead of giving the actual teachings of Krishna, teachings of the scriptures, he tries to fool them. So this is like the analogy that is quoted here. That is the blind man leading the blind. So there are some, that's why if you attend the classes, we hear that there are some instructions not to take these people as the spiritual masters, like who is not a guru. That is the fake godman who is after money and fame and all this, like who misquotes the Shastras, take some specific sections and gives some random mantras for some money or so on, and allows students disregard the regulative principles and austerities, and teaching yoga as some gymnastic exercises, and only focuses on material well-being, and also defy Vedas by saying that, by concluding themselves as like they are God, and so on and so forth. So these are not the bona fide spiritual masters. So Guru's understanding about God is Guru as a soul, Srotriyam and Brahmanishtam. That is, he heard about the absolute truth through the disciplic succession, and also realized the conclusions of the scriptures by practicing for so on and so forth time, and by exemplary behavior to the teachings, and also understanding the essence of scriptures, not just Sanskrit scholarship. There is one verse I say in like Saturday satsang classes and Upanishad classes, I said, that is, if you are just relying on Sanskrit expertise, it could mislead you. So there is one famous verse, that is, Kesavam patitam drishtva pandava harsha nirbhara Rudante Kauravaste Haha Kesava Kesava. There is this verse. That is, if you see, actual literally meaning of this is Kesavam, by seeing Krishna, Patitam Drishtva, falling from chariot or on the battlefield. Pandava Harsha Nirvara. That is, the Pandavas are laughing in joy. And Rudante Kauravaste. The Kauravas are crying. Haha Kesava Kesava, like that. Did this ever happen? So this is actually like misquoting a verse like that. If you break this word in another meaning, so K means on the surface of water, Savam means a dead body floating on the surface of water. Pandava Harsha Nirbharha, the residents of that lake are celebrating in joy because they got like meal for next 2-3 months. And Rudante Kauravaste, the Kauravas, Rava means shouting or like speaking or loudly or so on. Cow means inauspicious things. So vultures or jackals or so on. So they are actually, Kesava, Kesava, ha means, we missed the chance of eating the dead body because they can't swim in the lake or so on. So just by taking word to word meaning can lead to different meanings of the same text, what it is there. So importance is to observe a spiritual master who got the essence of that scripture and is, and is being Acharyavan Purusho Veda, like scripture says. That is, so the Acharyas are actually like, like the principles of Vedic principles are seen in their day-to-day activities and so on. So they are actually personification of the teachings of Vedas. So by seeing that quality, we can understand who is a bona fide spiritual master is. And also when we are choosing Guru, we should not, these are some guidelines that the Vaishnavas give. That is, we should go beyond the caste, creed, color, nationality. The same way as Guru should also have that. He is not like have some favoritism about some specific community and so on. So like other superficial differences, one should not have. And also, always it's important to check the balance of Guru Sadhu Shastras. So the Guru is instructing you from the instructions which are actually referenced from the Shastras, and also that's what the Sadhu Sangha also gives. So this triangle of Guru Sadhu Shastra must always be checked. So Gaur Govind Maharaj gives in his lectures that if anyone is saying something without quoting the scriptural statement behind it, he is not my disciple, he says in his classes. So it's like taking the balance of Guru Sadhu Shastra is important. So these are some qualifications or like some things of Guru. In the same way, through the scriptural education, so there are some qualifications that are given to the disciple also in this relationship of the spiritual master and disciple. So that is tadvitti pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshante te gnanam gnaninas tattvadarshanaha. So when you are approaching this tattvadarshi, the truth seers, one must approach in the like tadvitti pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya, by first pranipata means falling on the floor and offering obeisances. That means by humble surrender one must give. That is, one must be submissive. By considering oneself as a fool, one must approach the Tattvadarshi, the truth seer. So we have from Chaitanya Charitamrita example of Sanatana Goswami. So Sanatana Goswami, we know, is a cabinet minister in the court of the king. So when he is approaching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he takes this stance and shows by example. I was born in a lower family, my associations are all abominable, and I am fallen, the most wretched of mankind. I was suffering in the dark well of material enjoyment, and I never learned the actual goal of my life. Indeed, I do not even know what is beneficial for me. Although in the mundane sphere, I am what is known as a greatly learned man, I am in fact such a fool that I also think I am learned. You have accepted me as your servant and you have delivered me from the entanglement of material life. Now please tell me what my duty is in this liberated state. So this is the example of that Sanatana Goswami is setting in terms of approaching a spiritual master with a submissive form. And that's how Mahaprabhu also is pleased with Sanatana Goswami. And the other qualities, that qualification for a disciple is inquisitiveness. So as I said before from Srimad Bhagavatam verse, Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta Jignasu Shreyam Uttamam. So one must be inquisitive about Shreyas and Preyas. Difference of these two. Shreyas is the long-term goal and Preyas is like the short-term goal. Usually the materialistic people are caught in this Preyas, short-term goals of like how do I just solve this problem through some patchwork solution, and how to think about these things which are temporary. But Shreyas is actually inquiring about the long-term goal, about like what is the purpose of life and how do I effectively use those instructions to perfect this life and move to the next destinations, which is higher, not to degrade in the life. This is what this Shreyas part is. So the inquisitiveness is to be shown by the disciple. And the submissiveness, that is disciple not proud of material qualifications. So one of the analogy that is given is if a disciple, if he is having some material qualification and he is approaching to the spiritual master with those, like whatever the material wealth is, qualifications are and so on, it is compared to a heavy golden crown on the head of a drowning man. We are already drowning in this material ocean with so many entanglements, and the heavy golden crown will put you more and more down. So we have to be submissive, not proud of the material qualifications. So Narottam Das Thakur, when he is approaching his spiritual master Lokanath Goswami, he cleaned the place where Lokanath Goswami goes for passing stool and so on. So though coming from a very affluent family, Narottam Das Thakur shown that submissiveness to his spiritual master. And also King Prataparudra, how he was doing the marjana by wearing the clothes of like a very normal person. So like he also exhibited this submissiveness to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Mahaprabhu is first Mahaprabhu said he doesn't want to meet any king for because it's not appropriate for a sannyasi. But when Mahaprabhu is resting in the gardens during the Radha, then in very submissive form, King Prataparudra offers the prayers of Gopi Gita, and Mahaprabhu gets impressed and so on. So, and also devotion to the Supreme Lord. When you are accepting the teachings from the spiritual master, we should also be devoted to the Supreme Lord without having any speculative understanding of the absolute truth. And also unflinching faith in the order of Guru. And the last one is avowed truthfulness. We should be always truthful. There is one example of a Vedic boy in Chandogya Upanishad that is given. His name is Satyakama. So once like when he is approaching his spiritual master, so that time that conditions are so that you have to, means that Gurukul only takes Brahmana students and so on. So the spiritual master asks the Satyakama, so who is your, like are you a Brahmana? Like who is your, he says I don't know. He asks who is your father? He says I don't know. Then he says okay, go and ask your mother and come and tell me. Like that Satyakama says. So the spiritual master says. So Satyakama goes back to his mother and asks who is my father. So her mother is actually a prostitute. She says I don't know. So he'll come and say the exact thing to his spiritual master. He says I don't know. And the spiritual master is so impressed by the truthfulness of Satyakama, and he says you are a Brahmana, and then he takes, so this verse is there in, this pastime is there in Chandogya Upanishad. That is, we should be always truthful when you are approaching spiritual master. That is also to the representative of gurus, like Siksha gurus and all the guru system that we are being introduced to in the process of this. So we should be sincere. We should be, there would be some shortcomings. Sometimes we might commit some mistakes. We should be sincere and truthful in accepting those, so that the superiors can give us some guidance in helping our spiritual life. So with one last verse I'll conclude this class. So there is to be like this relationship between the guru and the disciple, to have this concrete relationship. So we need to meditate on the non-repayable debt to the acharyas, so whatever they have given us. So in that There is a prayer of Pruta Maharaja to the Kumaras. He will be saying, Yairidrishi Bhagavato Gatiratmavada Ekantato Nigamabih Pratipaditanaha Tushyantvadabhrak Karuna Swakritena Nityam Ko Nama Tat Pratikaroti Vinoda Patram. He says, Pruta Maharaj continues, how can such persons who have rendered unlimited service by explaining the path of self-realization in relation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and whose explanations are given for our enlightenment with complete conviction and Vedic evidence, be repaid except by folded palms containing water for their satisfaction? Such great personalities can be satisfied only by their own activities, which are distributed amongst human society out of their unlimited mercy. So that's all. Any comments or questions? Dharad Prabhu? Yeah.
Devotees may not know this, but I discovered this a little while ago. You mentioned Rupa and Sanatan. Sanatan Goswami was 2 years younger than Lord Chaitanya, and Rupa Goswami was 3 years younger than Lord Chaitanya. So when Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, he was 24, right?
Yeah.
And then he went down there and he met them right away. So they're in the government, the right and left hand. One is 21, one is 22. Amazing, because you get to, I always thought, well, they were in their 40s, you know,
Yeah.
but no, they were younger than us.
Where did that Keshava interpretation example come from?
I heard in like 2 Vaishnavas Bhagavatam classes. Yeah, like Ramarendra Prabhu's and Radhesham Prabhu's. Yeah.
Is it a Sanskrit scholar kind of example, or there's actually a line like that in Shastra?
It's, I think, Sanskrit example.
Plain Sanskrit.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, like that, yeah.
About that, the second translation, can you repeat the second translation of that one? That Mukunda just
Oh,
asked?
Kesham Bhajam Drishtva.
The more befitting translation you're saying, as opposed to what you could.
Because one is a wrong translation, but you're saying the second is the right one?
Yeah.
Okay, can you repeat the right one, please?
So, Keshavam Patitam Drishtva, by seeing a corpse floating in the water, Pandavam Harsha Nirbraha, the residents of that lake are celebrating in joy because they got meal. And Rudante Kauravaste, so the crows and the vultures and jackals are crying, ha ha Keshava Keshava, oh body, dead body, like that.
They're crying.
Because they missed out their meal.
Oh, because they can't go there.
Yeah, they can't swim, right? Jackals can't swim.
It's an example how you can read something in a wrong way, read something in a right way.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful who you're reading
Yeah,
from.
Ramanuja Charyas. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Srila Prabhupada's main, well, actually Srila Prabhupada, he said he'd mostly agree with the translations of Bhagavad Gitas. But it was just the commentary that he wouldn't agree with, because as we know, Srila Prabhupada was taking from Radha Krishna's translation at one point.
Yeah.
Anyways.
That brings up one little point. In the Bhagavad Gita, as it is, text 71 of the second chapter, right near the end,
Mm-hmm.
Prabhupada is recounting, he's kind of summarizing some of the, So he says, at one point he says, Arjuna did not want to fight for his own sense gratification.
Mm.
Now that seems pretty clear. But then the next sentence is, but when he became fully Krishna conscious, Prabhupada said, after he heard the Bhagavad Gita, he fought to fulfill Krishna's desire. Okay. But what Prabhupada meant by the first sign, if you take, logically, because it has to be Arjuna, the first chapter, in the beginning of the second chapter, before he heard it. Arjuna did not want to fight for his own sense gratification means that Arjuna wanted to satisfy his own senses by not fighting. You see?
Yeah.
But no, well, he didn't want to fight for those. We know he didn't want to fight, but that's at the end of the Gita. He didn't want to fight for those. He wanted to fight for Krishna's sense gratification.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to fight for that understanding because Prabhupada in a few verses earlier he explicitly describes that scene, and it's obviously clear at the beginning. Even though he was citing the Vedas and all these things, it was really that he just didn't want to kill Bhishma and Drona, right?
Yeah.
And others. So that happens in English also, is where you have to take, you have to understand the context.
Yeah, also, it's nice that you brought up the qualifications of a disciple as well, because sometimes there's a overemphasis on in a sense, the qualifications of the guru, and then what about the disciple? But if you look at the qualifications of the disciple, there's more, as most everyone may know. There's list of qualifications of disciples, and you almost see it, and you're like, that's like a qualification of a guru practically. I mean, they're high qualifications.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it's nice to balance both sides. We also have to have particular qualifications as disciples, not that the guru just has some qualifications. So. Like, for example, list in ISKCON disciple course, like from the Hari Bhakti Vilasa or something, there's some list of disciples' qualities. They have to be self-controlled, this, that, so many different things. Yeah.
Amanitvam, adambitvam, yeah. Any questions or comments online? Srila Prabhupada ki jai.